the generation of this started in training camp last year in midweek, so I'll give you a longer explanation. We look at the camp, there's 3 blocks to it. So we have our hard block, which is the start, and that's not going to change, and in some ways it'll be even harder for them when we get to next week. And then we had what we thought of as a transition block, and then a speed block, so we just get to speed before the start of the year. But the transition block was long, and we also found that that's where some of our overuse injuries were coming. We didn't see a value in that. So right in camp last year, the idea is this camp is too long for us where we're at. So that was just the idea, but the more important thing, they didn't get another week of rest, they got another week of training, and that's the big thing. When we hit the ice with the older players on Thursday or the veteran players on next Thursday, their individual training stops. They can't do it anymore. So if you were to look at what Sergei Bobrovsky needs to do and what Sasha Barkov needs, those are 2 different training programs. So we finished the season a week earlier. We thought if we give them another week of training, we could kind of capture what they needed was more training time. So it wasn't about making it easier for them, it wasn't that. We just took a week out that we didn't think we were getting much benefit and transitioned it to a place that they could train. Now they're all here, every single guy that will start next week's here. Most of them have been here. They're all training with each other in the gym. They all train hard. So for their individual preparedness and for the regular season, they're going to get much more benefit from individual training another week. It's the challenge of shortened off seasons that some of the training, we just can't get to some of the stuff that they like to do. So they're training hard, and we're not coming off. Our next week will be every bit as hard as it's ever been. So it's not going to be an easier camp for them. It's just not going to be as long.
I think one of the last things you said going into the off season after the training on that was you just do the assistants to lay out the camp.
Yeah.
So this was it. Yeah.
This was done, right? And again, it started a year ago. So, I think it was, coaches were kind of complaining, we were bitching is what we were doing, that week wasn't making us better. And then Bill asked the question that he always said, well, why do we do it that way then? So part of it is the layout of the exhibition games. You have to, so all of this, and then the nice byproduct for us is next year we're going to this, the league is going to a shortened camp. And we will have a year of experience in terms of the things that we do want to change a little bit. But our training camp, when you talk about is it going to be as hard as last year, they played a lot of hockey, we're running the exact same drills to the exact same duration for the first 4 days of camp. We're not changing that.
How much of, I guess, is there an advantage of it in that, yes, okay, you're going to it next year anyway, but you pretty much could fill out your lineup card for Chicago right now, too.
Fairly, if we were healthy, right? So we have a pretty good idea. It does. Our reaction and the decision to run camp this way is based on where we're at right now. It would change 5, 8 years from now if you were in a different set of circumstances. But with what we have, the number of exhibition games our top end guys feel like is in their wheelhouse is 2 to 3. Now we usually get to kind of 3 to 4, but we don't love that. And there's a bunch of guys get injured, so now you're running guys at 5 that you don't want to. So we think we can, if you can't predict health, but we think we can get everybody exactly what they need, and then we also get to learn from it. Do they need more? Could a guy get away with less? I'm talking too much. It's my first presser here. I'm going to be here all day. I got 3 months built up inside me.
You enjoy working with the kids? It looked like a much different looking team that you're
yeah.
Kids again.
You do, because there is more to do, right? All the little details, so you can get a drive-by, talk to a couple of guys. There's a whole bunch of things they can add to their game over time. So there's a lot of technical stuff that you can help a young man out. These guys have, like that second group went pretty good hard pace there. They were bent over halfway through it. That's right. That's how hard they should work. And you want to help those guys then. They put in a good effort.
How would you characterize the backup goalie battle, A, and B, how important is that job behind the guy?
I would, as somebody else is concerned, because I don't know anything about goaltending, they're going to, we've got really experienced goaltending people. I have all the faith in the world in Rob Tallis. and they're going to decide how that works, who starts. The job with Sergei is really, really important because we work hard to keep Sergei at a number, and we don't want him playing 65 games. And I don't know that anybody in the league wants to play 65 games, except all those goalies would tell you they need to play 82, right? They just all want to keep. I mean, that's just who they are. So we keep it a number. The backup goalie position is critically important, and some of it is it's also an incredible opportunity to watch Sergei work, and that will be the first thing that all of these guys come in and go, oh my God, I can't believe how much time he puts into being great. It's a really good understudy program there. We think that Daniel has all the possibility of being a fantastic one. We're going to see each goal. We play a little different defensive game than some teams, and it's no different like the Nico Mikkola effect. He comes in here in the style of game that we play. He has excelled to being a fantastic defender for us. The goaltenders see the game differently behind us too, right? We are more man-to-man. There is a little bit a higher rate of kind of odd man breaks on occasion, but for the most part, you should be able to read the play. Daniel gets across the ice very well on his reads. So we think we have a guy that can play behind the game that we play.
With Tarasov, just the relationship you have to Bob between both being from the same hometown.
Yeah.
Bob looking up to his dad, just that story in and of itself, just being able to see how that could develop with their relationship.
It's a great story in the room, and then there's kind of a hometown friend, and especially for where Sergei's at as a mentor in his life. The idea that he can pass along some of these to somebody who has a clear understanding of where he comes from. There's going to be a great respect for Sergei, and so I think there's great open lines of communication between the two, which means the young man is going to get a great tutor. Spectacular, very, very quiet, very quiet. I never left the cottage. I went outside of it every once in a while, but I spent every evening there, so it was incredibly peaceful. And it felt, I don't know about how you, this year felt quite a bit longer than last year. Some of it was, it's a different emotion coming out of it. Coming out of the 2 years ago, it was euphoria, right? This one was more of a sense of accomplishment. 3 days after you were on vacation, So it felt like we got more recovery time. That's kind of the general from the fellas. They came back. It wasn't as hectic this year, so I think we're ready to go.
Have you done your cup day?
Have
you done your cup day yet?
It's all gone. Yeah, I want to be done with all of it by the time I get to training camp. So I'll still swing by. There's a few people I'll swing by.
Did you do the commentaries?
I would just say, George, it was a very minimalist event. It was literally, we did nothing. That's accurate. Well, not even, like nothing is accurate.
You take it on the lake?
Nothing. Literally. Literally nothing.
Did you, when you left here?
Yeah.
After the parade, and people said their goodbyes, and you scattered to your various cottages and lakes all over North America, did you expect that Aaron and Sam and Brad would be joining you in September?
So the answer is going to be yes, or I wouldn't have left. Because if all three go, there's a lot of heavy lifting that has to happen July 1st. And I have input on it. It's certainly not my decision, but I would have needed, I feel, to have been here. But my sense was, I believe I left. I left on the Wednesday or Thursday after the parade. I don't know what that date is, because I had a fairly strong belief that we weren't going to be moving a lot of parts out.
Particularly with Ben Gannett, what do they mean to this team outside of the play? You always talk about Panthers hockey culture. They seem to be two of the guys you point to often as just kind of beacons for that.
Well, it feels like because Aaron's been here forever, and Sam predated me. For me, he's a Panther and had been for a while. The connections they have, I think that Ekblad and Bennett are very, very close friends. I know their wives are very, very close friends. And in style of play, they're irreplaceable. There just isn't a lot. There just are not a lot of Sam Bennetts out there. And then even if you you just look different. You can't play to the same effect that you could play before. The normal progression it seems, on teams that win or get very close to winning, that in each of the year after they lose players. It's just almost inevitable, right? While they're still very powerful teams, when they sit in the room, they go, we're not quite as good. And it's not like an injury. Matthew, he's coming back. That'll be like a great trade for us. We're going to bring in a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, exactly like him, some point in the season, right? That's the great ad that we'll have. But when you lose those guys, there's a sense in the room that you're not quite as good as you were, and that's insidious, and you have to fight it. So they come back in. They're all looking around the room, going, "This is ours now. This is so many of these guys are going to play their careers here." It's a real strong feeling.